Astronomers CEO Andy Byron has tendered his resignation after a viral Kiss Cam moment at a Coldplay concert with the company's head of HR.
65,000 people, one giant screen, and a Kiss Cam that turned into the career-ending shot of the century. The camera sweeps the crowd, then stops. Two big shot execs tangled up like a couple of sneaky teenagers in a hallway. But these aren't kids. This is Andy Byron, CEO of Astronomer, and Kristen Cabot, the chief people officer, the HR boss herself, both of them married, just not to each other. Within hours, the internet ripped their disguises off and plastered their names everywhere. Days later, that CEO chair was sitting empty, and the whole world got a front row seat to a brutal masterclass in corporate downfall. See, power doesn't protect you from doing something stupid, it spotlights it. When you spend years building your image on rules and then torch those rules yourself, the world won't just watch, it'll record it, replay it, and make sure you never live it down. It all kicked off as a harmless joke. Chris Martin, Coldplay's frontman, mid-song, grinning at the Jumbotron, and then bam, 65,000 strangers instantly became witnesses. From far away, looked innocent enough, 2x fidgeting in their seats, but up close, whew. It was giving first Tinder date gone wrong on an IMAX screen. The awkward lean, the tight smile.
There is no good way to react when you end up on the Jumbotron at a Coldplay concert hugging the coworker you're having an affair with. But of all the bad options, these two chose the absolute worst one.
And that flash of panic when they realized, oh no, the camera's on them. Here's the thing about a stadium Kiss Cam. It doesn't care about your secrets. It doesn't want your side of the story. It just blasts your business to the entire world. 17 minutes. That's how fast the clip went from concert big screen to full-on internet chaos. Social media detectives pounced like it was Shark Week. Then came the spark and a TikTok from someone inside the company. Oh my God, that's Astronomer CEO Andy Byron and the head of HR Kristen Cabot. Boom, screenshot, share, repost. By the time people even got out of the parking lot, it was everywhere. The comments were savage. Memes of corporate ethics training side by side with HR handbooks. And that infamous Kiss Cam freeze frame stamped with captions like, "The employee handbook forgot this chapter." At first, pure shock. People blinked and said, wait, aren't they both married? Then came the sly grins, then the smug satisfaction. Because let's be real, catching hypocrisy in crisp, unforgiving 4K just hits different. It's one of those rare moments where the universe feels like it finally served some justice. By sunrise, the mess had its own hashtag trending worldwide. News outlets were running that clip in slow motion like it was the final play of the championship game. On Threads, self-proclaimed body language experts broke it down frame by frame. Was that a guilty glance, a nervous chuckle, or the exact second they realized their corner office dreams just went up in smoke? Within hours, this went from cheeky gossip to a full-blown corporate meltdown.
She's going to take him for everything he's got.
If she's going to take him to court, well, she's right to do that. The judge is going to go, you want to divorce him, dear? No problem.
Oh, you're that dude from the video I watched.
We don't need to look at the evidence. We believe you.
Andy's LinkedIn, Ghost Town, Kristen's profile, vanished from the company site like she never existed. Astronomer, a company most people couldn't even spell yesterday, was suddenly front-page news everywhere. All because two big shots forgot the golden rule in a stadium packed with strangers. Once the camera catches you, your secret ain't yours anymore. It belongs to the crowd, the lens, and the internet. And the internet? Oh, it doesn't blink, baby, it burns. That Kiss Cam was just the spark. Astronomer was basically dry grass begging for a match, 17 minutes. That's all it took to flip them from nobodies to infamous. By the time the concert crowd even hit their cars, the online mob had already done what HR never dared. Dragged leadership out in the open and put them on blast. Viral threads were stacked with LinkedIn titles, press shots, and even old company webinar screenshots about ethics and integrity. The takedown wasn't just messy, it was lightning fast. 17 minutes to destroy an image that took decades to polish. Inside Astronomer's shiny HQ, panic spread like smoke. First confusion, then frantic phone calls, then full-blown chaos. PR teams yanked out of bed, crisis managers logging in from 3 time zones at once. This wasn't a scandal anymore. It was a corporate apocalypse in real time.
Now, if only they'd practiced improv or something, then they might have thought to pretend like Kristen was choking and Andy was doing the Heimlich. Maybe she could have pretended that she passed out from sheer boredom. It is a Coldplay concert after all.
Some poor soul tried to whip up a polished official statement, But seriously, what do you even say when your CEO just blew up his own career, live in front of 65,000 witnesses? By hour 6, the memes were running laps around the PR team. By hour 12, investors were calling, demanding answers. By hour 24, employees were swapping the video in Slack, adding captions so brutal they could peel paint. By hour 72, Andy Byron wasn't just finished. He was burnt to a crisp. Not the kind you scrape and save, the kind you dump straight in the trash. Kristen tried to hang on, but let's be real, when your title is Chief People Officer and the people are roasting you nonstop, there's only one way out. The exit door. Her photo quietly disappeared from the leadership page, her name scrubbed from every press release like she never existed. Inside HQ, whispers turned into full-blown jokes. Is HR offering couples counseling now? Maybe the next training video should open with the Kiss Cam. For everyone on the outside, it was pure entertainment. So like watching the final scene of a play you didn't even know you'd been watching, with the lead actors writing their own disaster ending in real time. And here's your TED Talk moment. Power isn't lost in one dumb mistake. It's lost in the messy minutes after, when the world sees exactly who you are and there's nothing left to hide behind. Astronomer thought they could control the narrative, but the narrative had already taken the wheel. The internet had receipts. Employees had jokes. The public? Zero sympathy. 17 minutes to unmask them. 72 hours to wipe them off the map. And somewhere in that chaos, the truth became crystal clear.
It's always at the workplace.
Always at the workplace, guys and girls.
Safe. Cheating is always, most of the time, it's at the workplace, man.
When your downfall's this public, no PR playbook can save you. The crowd decides when the show's over, and for Andy Byron and Kristen Kitt, the curtain had already dropped. But just when you thought it was over for Astronomer's power couple, a new player stepped into the spotlight. Someone who'd been lurking in the wings, watching the entire implosion unfold. For years, Astronomer was a ghost in the tech world. Invisible unless you worked in data pipelines or had a buddy bragging about real-time analytics. Now, they're infamous. Not for innovation, not for any breakthrough product, but for creating the first stadium-scale HR violation in history. And dead center in the chaos? Kristen Kitt, self-proclaimed queen of corporate ethics, dubbed the Miranda Priestley of gaslighting, an HR for herself exec whose LinkedIn sparkled, while her workplace reputation was toxic enough to clear a room. Her brand, rules, her weapon, policy, her side hustle, quietly pushing out anyone who dared steal her spotlight. Former colleagues swear she could quote the employee handbook in her sleep and still twist it like origami to fit her game. But here's where our plot takes a sharp turn. The person who knows her best. He wasn't in that stadium, he was watching from the sidelines. Kenneth C. Thornby, ex-husband, no flashy Instagram, no tabloid interviews, no thirst for drama, until now.
Now, I'm making jokes, and so is the rest of the planet. And rightfully so. These two did something evil and shameful, and they did it brazenly in public, in an arena surrounded by thousands of people. And now they're experiencing the consequences.
Kenneth spent decades in the sports apparel world, locking down multi-million-dollar distribution deals, always delivering results, never making headlines. While Kristen was scaling the tech ladder in stilettos, hashtags, and corporate buzzwords, Kenneth was raising their kid, paying his share, and taking the high road. And maybe that's why his silence cuts so deep. Because in the right hands, silence isn't weakness. It's a loaded weapon. Word is Kenneth's file cabinet isn't just full of tax returns and vacation pics. Nope, we're talking receipts, emails, timelines, maybe even photos, the kind of ammo that doesn't just scratch a brand, it nukes it out of existence. So when that Coldplay clip exploded online, Kenneth didn't rush to post a meme, he didn't like a shady comment, he didn't have to, he just waited. Because he knows the internet loves a scandal, but it loves the sequel even more. And here's your real-life lesson. You can reinvent yourself all you want, but your past, it's patient. It doesn't disappear, it waits for the right moment, and Kristen's moment came under the glow of a kiss cam. Kristen built her empire on the illusion of authority, and on being the moral compass in the room. But a compass that only spins toward power isn't guiding anyone, it's just spinning out of control. And now, that spin is stopped. The needle is locked, and it's pointing straight at her. Astronomer will try to clean house, the headlines will fade, but Kenneth C. Thornby, he's not chasing clout. He's holding the last chapter, and when he turns that page, Kristen's HR crown won't just slip, it'll shatter into dust. Because scandals don't really end when the trending hashtags die. Sometimes that's when the real reckoning starts. And Kenneth, he's been waiting years, not out of fear, but out of choice. He raised their kid, paid the bills, kept his head down. while Kristen built her empire of optics, but that Coldplay Kiss Cam, it flipped the temperature in the room. One viral moment, and every crack she'd been covering for years split wide open for the whole world to see. Now Kenneth's making moves, not loud, not messy, calculated. Word around the courthouse is that his legal team is quietly combing through custody terms, financial arrangements, even co-parenting agreements. Because when your name's blowing up online for all the wrong reasons, judges start paying attention. This isn't about humiliating her, it's about locking down the future he's been building for their child. And if protecting that future means pulling receipts from his vault, then that vault's getting opened. The irony? The same woman who stood on every stage preaching ethics is now having her own character dissected. Not in a conference room, but in a courtroom. Insiders whisper about timelines that don't match, emails that raise eyebrows, photos that hit harder than any HR slideshow she's ever made. Evidence Kenneth never had to touch until now. And here's the twist that makes it poetic. The man she left behind, the man she underestimated, now holds the final move in a scandal she thought she could spin. This isn't some rage-fueled blow-up. This is surgical karma. Clean, precise, and devastating. Picture it like chess. She played fast, all flash and openings. He played long, waiting for the endgame. And now, checkmate. From the outside, it feels like a slow-motion takedown. Every headline, every leaked Slack message, every quietly deleted profile photo, all pushing the same truth. Her grip on control is gone. Listen closely, and you can almost hear the lesson writing itself. When you burn bridges, pray the person on the other side isn't holding the blueprints. Kenneth never wanted the spotlight, but now that it's on him, he's not wasting it. Not for revenge, for closure. Because some truths don't need to be screamed, they just need to be documented, signed, stamped, and filed exactly where it counts most. And when that file finally lands on a judge's desk, Kristen's so-called HR queen legacy won't just fade, it'll get officially ruled against. The fancy corporate titles, gone. The LinkedIn bio, scrubbed. But the real hit? This scandal wasn't just about losing a job. It was about losing the very ground her life was standing on. Kenneth's quiet legal chess game flipped the entire narrative. What started as a stadium giggle over a kiss cam was now stamped with the heavy weight of custody hearings and financial rewrites. This wasn't awkward anymore. This was dangerous for Kristen. Every headline chipped away at her credibility, while every headline handed Kenneth more leverage. Judges noticed, lawyers noticed, and the internet, oh, it never blinks. Public reaction started to turn icy. Sure, the memes were still circulating, but now they were sharing space with op-eds and think pieces. Commentators were asking the big questions. How does the department meant to protect a company's integrity end up being the source of its biggest humiliation? Others zoomed out even further. What does this say about corporate power? About the double standards in boardrooms? About how a spotless image can crumble in the span of a coffee break? The laughter was still there, but under it there was a colder hum. The conversation was shifting, no longer about the affair itself, but the wreckage it left behind. Whispers turned into speculation. Would she lose more than her cushy job? Could Kenneth walk away with not just the moral victory, but full custody? It started feeling like the third act of a thriller. The moment the villain realizes too late that the trap's been closing for a long time. Here's the real-life lesson. In the drama of public opinion, reputation is currency. And once you spend it all, there's no buyback plan. Kristen had spent years polishing hers, curating every photo, every quote, every corporate move. But image is fragile. It takes decades to build, minutes to shatter, and in her case, just 17 minutes to go viral. Now the stakes had shifted. This wasn't about office gossip anymore. This was about survival, financial, personal, and reputational. And the worst part, the crowd wasn't cheering for her comeback and they were rooting for her collapse. When the public decides someone's downfall is earned, every update turns into binge-worthy entertainment. Every court filing feels like a plot twist. Every leaked message, another episode in a series nobody wants to see end. And in the middle of all that noise, Kenneth stayed silent. He didn't need to toss fuel on the flames. The world was doing the work for him. For Kristen, the real threat wasn't just losing her position or her paycheck. It was losing the one thing she built her whole life around: control. The fight was no longer on her terms. The audience had switched sides. The story had momentum. And the ending? It might have already been written. In the end, Kristen didn't need an enemy to destroy her image. She managed that all on her own. One stadium, one spotlight, one kiss cam. That was all it took. It was the cleanest takedown imaginable. No smear campaign, no shadowy plots, just the truth blasted in full HD. And the irony, almost cinematic. A career built entirely on controlling narratives, ended by a camera she didn't even see coming. Years of policies, presentations, and perfectly staged corporate moments gone in just 17 minutes. There's a strange satisfaction in justice like that. No gavel, no formal trial, just the universe stepping in and saying, your turn. Here's your TED Talk. Power will protect you until it doesn't. And when that shield drops, the same spotlight you once used to make yourself look untouchable will scorch you. Kristen's legacy won't be the HR manuals or the LinkedIn endorsements. It'll be that one freeze frame, two executives caught mid-cringe, mid-line, mid-downfall. A forever reminder that hypocrisy always finds the lens, and when it does, it doesn't blink. For some, this was pure entertainment. For others, a cautionary tale. But for everyone watching, it was unforgettable. So next time someone shrugs and says, it's just a moment, it'll pass. Remember, some moments don't pass. They replay, they loop, they define. If you loved this deep dive into one of the wildest corporate meltdowns of our time, hit that like button, drop a comment. Was this justice, karma, or both? Share this with someone who enjoys a good downfall, and make sure you subscribe so you never miss the next twist, scandal, or savage takedown.